Sergeant 16-Bit here, and welcome to my first ever video review of anything. For those of you who like video games and have been on the internet a lot, like myself, you may have noticed a lot of games that tend to either shock or anger. Well, yes, but I'm talking about games that steal other people's ideas to make a quick buck. Well, actually, I mean games in which someone programs some crap, slaps on blatantly stolen elements, such as characters or otherwise, from a franchise that isn't theirs, and then sells it on the streets, in a flea market, or on eBay, all without the permission of the original creators. That's right, unlicensed games.
With the existence of bootlegged t-shirts, toys, and movies, there are also plenty of unlicensed games, which usually come out poorly programmed, not properly tested, and everything else that would make a game unplayable.
Let's play one! Introducing Somari for the Famicom. Notice I didn't say NES.
Hoo boy. This is one of the most well-known bootleg games out there. As you can see, this is clearly Sonic the Hedgehog with Mario as the main hero. And no, there are no other elements from the Mario series other than Mario himself. He fights Robotnik and everything. Now, you would think Mario in Sonic's world would be interesting, but too bad the producers were too busy thinking about the root of all evil to make this game fun. I bet in real life we would have a real Sonic and Mario crossover. Yeah, let's just play this thing. Now, the first thing you'll notice is that the music is awful. I mean, just listen. And not just here, but everywhere. Whether it's off-key, has missing notes, or otherwise, you wouldn't like it.
Sounds like an 8-bit rendition of a 5-year-old using Mario Paint's music composer.
Another thing you'll notice is that the graphics are atrocious. Just look at those badniks. It's almost surprising that Mario is all the right colors. Well, almost. Where do you get Tails' shoes anyway?
Oh no! My shoes are worn out.
Here, you can borrow mine!
Thank you so much. Wait, why are you doing this?
Well, Sonic's kind of a jerk leaving me to die all the time in Sonic 2 and 3. So I started to hang out with Nintendo characters while he's not looking.
He is the filthy hedgehog, isn't he?
Right you are, bro! Let's get a drink!
Good idea. Say, you're not bad for a filthy Sega character.
What was that?
Nothing.
Also, don't Mario's eyes in the life counter look a bit red to you guys? I'm just saying, that looks a little bit creepy. Anyway, clearly this game tries to have the same gameplay as the traditional Sega Genesis Sonic games. But this also means that Mario somehow inexplicably gained all of Sonic's abilities.
I guess if he got all those powers from making a deal with the devil, it would explain the whole red eyes thing. Either that or his eyes bled from all the bad graphics.
Now what separates the gameplay here from that of Sonic 1 is that you can do a spin dash, which wasn't available until Sonic 2. To be honest, putting the spin dash in Sonic 1, or in this case an embodiment of it, isn't a bad idea. The problem is you don't really get to enjoy it because it doesn't really save the game from everything else that goofs it up. Plus, once you spin, you can't get out of it until you slow down to a complete stop. In other words, you can't jump out of it like in the regular Sonic games.
Lame.
I bet if Sega remade Sonic 1 and included the spin dash, they would have done a much better job. Okay, we get it! Sega has a history of crushing our dreams. Another thing I noticed is the flaws in level design. Some levels are a bit repetitive, some jumps are almost impossible to achieve. The developers completely skipped over certain elements of the original game, and to add to those impossible jumps, There is an inescapable spike pit in Green Hill Act 1.
I know there was an inescapable spike pit in the Mystic Cave Zone in Sonic 2, but when you put in the first level of a game, it kind of messes up the difficulty curve a little. You know, that's the third Sonic 2 reference I made in this review. Might as well mention that Mario lays down and kicks his foot if you make him way too long.
Oh yeah, and there's another inescapable spike pit in Green Hill Zone Act 3. Oh, and if you're trying to get air bubbles in Labyrinth Zone, watch out for air pockets that don't even give you bubbles. I swear, nothing like getting faked out.
Now, all these other flaws aside, it's time to answer that all-important question. Does the game have a good sense of speed like the original Sonic?
Well, as you would expect from a clearly poorly tested bootleg game, it doesn't. A lot of the time when I was playing the game, it felt like I was walking through tar. Not that I expected a fat plumber to run too fast.
I'ma get you good, the Badunix. Heart attacker.
And if you thought you hated Labyrinth Zone before, try combining water with already poor speed quality. I tell you, this level is so boring to play. Enemies also seem to be placed at very inconvenient places, so that slows me down a bit too. And on top of all that, the aerial physics suck. It feels like I'm trying to push an invisible wall while I'm in the air. Well, to be fair, there is one level that's close to having a decent sense of speed, and that's the Starlight Zone. Okay, back to the bad stuff. Oh boy, the boss fights. Like I said earlier, Mario fights Robotnik, so it's pretty much Fat Man with a mustache versus Fat Man with a mustache. Remember the wrecking ball from Green Hill? The bad aerial physics make it frustrating to hit Robotnik. This also serves a problem jumping over the lava pit in the boss fight in Marble Zone. In Spring Yard, I felt that there wasn't enough room to move. That one part in Labyrinth where you're jumping up the passageway chasing after Robotnik was replaced by the screen scrolling upward. The boss in Starlight was completely replaced by really long and tedious gameplay. Scrap Brain Zone's boss was... Hey, wait a minute.
Scrap Brain Zone isn't even in this game. And not just the boss, but the whole level. Seriously!
When I completed Starlight Zone, it just skipped right on to the Final Zone's boss, which is, by the way, not much different from the original Final Zone's boss, except that it doesn't give you any warning when Robotnik is about to smash you. But that's beside the point. The absence of an entire set of levels really shows you how lazy the developers were. Okay, now that we've beaten the final boss, let's see the ending. That is, soon as Mario here is done pushing on the machine. Anytime now, buddy. Yeah.
Are you serious?
No Mario jumping out and pointing at us? No credits roll? No nothing?
Call off the attack, Steve. No credits roll. Oh, Marion! Well, that's Somari.
This game is a prime example of a typical bootlegged game. Plays bad, looks bad, sounds bad, and overall lazily made.
Now, some of you are probably wondering by now, hey, but your name's Sergeant 16-Bit. Shouldn't you be reviewing something on the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis? Well, since this game is a knockoff of a popular game for the Sega Genesis, I thought it might be okay for my first review. I'm Sergeant 16-Bit. Bye-bye. Happy 20th birthday, Sonic.